Not a lot of celebrations at the beginning. It's rather a very long process, but we said that if we really want to see integrated, holistic solutions, we need to go with everyone. And what is everyone? We did a mapping. We said, okay, the life cycle of the problem from the producers till the minute that it gets to our household, and we said 10 different categories. And within each of the categories, we said, how are we bringing into the table at least one partner, which is a leader in this category, in order to sit with us? And the importance was how do we reflect the whole system, understand the system, and yes, let's talk about the elephant in the room. There is conflict of interest. They don't all see the problem and the solutions the same. This is how we got to this problem. And we started this around 2013, and it took us almost 2 years only to find the partners. And it wasn't an easy task for the partners to sit in the table, because they were forced to sit with other sectors, because it was a whole life cycle analysis and not specific for their organization, and because they needed to sit with competitors. And in this room, although we are, I don't know, 30 people in the room or something like that, we have more than 5 of our partners here sitting in this project. And we got to more than 40 partners, reflecting all the different categories that I mentioned. And in a project that started in 2016 and ended this year, we were able to map the problem and see the solutions. So what did we do? I'll go shortly in the... It is stuck. It's not in my minutes, right? It is, okay, it is stuck. Here, what did we do? Okay, we started by raising the awareness. When we started at 2013 and in 2016, not a lot of people knew about the problem. We built the awareness, we had a common language around sustainability, and then we did a resource mapping. What are the resources available in Israel and in our partners, because no one can do this, solve this challenge alone, that we can be using in order to solve the issue of food waste, and a lot of field research. And the interesting part was that we did this research with all our partners, that each one of them saw the problem in a different angle. And it provided us with a very wide range of ideas of how to look at the challenge itself. And then we went through a process of ideation. We wanted to see, okay, we understand where in the process and the life cycle the problem is, but now where are our leverage points? Where do we need to interfere in the system in order to find high high resolution and long-term solutions? And afterwards, we said, okay, we need to focus, because we can do so many initiatives. And we said, we need to focus, and we want to focus on upstream solutions. We are talking, and I want to make an emphasis on that, we're talking about how to reduce the food waste from the beginning. Not about waste management, but how to provide the solutions in order to prevent it from the first place. And this was our goal, to find as much as possible the upstream solutions. Then we went to prioritization, because you always need to prioritize. And we had different criteria, just to mention a few. One was, where can we find a solution that no one has a real interest by itself, but as a collective, it's a huge interest. The second was to see, are there any market failures? If there are, how can we get inside and make changes? And we try to find solutions that are bigger than one interest of one definite organization, but for the overall. And then from there, we went to the implementation stage, which is where we are at. We are in the implementation and deep in that. And this maybe is, I think, the most important slide in my presentation. If collaborating was easy, we would all do it. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to join. It wasn't easy sitting in the, in the process for the 2 years. And I think one of the basic things and the elements in this collaboration was about trust. Putting trust, building the mechanism for trust, and see how can we really tell about, where food waste is in our core business, where it is not, what we will not do and what we will do. And we worked a lot with many techniques and many things in the process and skills in order to build the trust. And we're in the process. We're 2 years afterwards. I think it went much better, and we are still in the process of working together, because again, no one can solve the problem by itself. It needs to be a multi-stakeholder approach. What are we doing? Just to show you the different angles very shortly. The first is raising awareness. We need the awareness to be really high that there is a problem in order for all our partners and ourselves to really solve the problem. The second, institutional catering. A lot of the waste is there. So we said we must be there because it's something that will be crucial for changing, the numbers of the food waste in Israel. The third is a market failure in Israel. We identified a market failure of expirational dates and things that are being destroyed because of that, and this is something we want to influence and change the market pattern. The fourth is something that the Israeli Convention for Food Waste Reduction, I hope it will be broadened than only Israel. More than 40 companies that have signed the reduction and said that they want to do something about it and to influence. And the last, national and municipal policy. And this is for my 2 minutes concluding comments. Municipality policy and how it relates to the city. I don't need to say in this room why the city level is important and why the city level is very crucial for solving problems. Another, yeah? For solving problems. Maze? But I do want to emphasize that if you really want to solve a problem, but really solve a problem of food waste in the city, you need to look at it from an integrated approach. You need to look at all the stakeholders in your city and see how they're involved in food waste policies. It doesn't matter if it comes from the education, the waste policies, sustainability, the health. You need them all in order to really find a strategic solution. You need to bring the supermarkets inside. Never mind. You need to put the supermarket inside. You need to look at the restaurants, what kind of policies, what kind of indicators. You need to look at the hospitals. You need to go and look for schools. Yes, you need to educate, but what do you educate? You need to educate the value of food. You need to give alternatives for children and for the households. You need to go to the airport even to see how they are using the food policies and so on. And of course, the households. You have a lot of messages to go to the households. And again, I'm not here to say how a city can solve the issue of food waste, but rather give a perspective of how we need to collaborate, what kind of perspective, and see how much we can integrate holistic upstream solutions. And in general, to combine between issues of targets and measurements, and we talked about how important the measurement is, to look at the waste policies, to look at how we're educating and giving alternatives and providing information. So, I will conclude that it needs to be an holistic approach, and again, I highly recommend to collaborate, to find all the different relevant stakeholders and bring them into the table. And the last, I hope we'll have more exciting news to be spreading in the near future about the food waste, and we really encourage the Milan Pact to take the food waste as one of its main targets and find policies that will help to enforce it, because we believe that it's an integral and important message that will only enlarge the quality of living in the cities. Thank you very much. אם היה אפשר יותר תקלות טכניות.
Thank you, Michal, and sorry for these technical issues. Sometimes you need to be very modest with your requirements and just use these instruments. Our last speaker in this session is Mr. Massimiliano Tellini. Banking. What is banking has to do with food waste? Massimiliano will be talking about the commitment of Intensa San Paulo group in circular economy and the role of circular economy in food systems. So the floor is yours.
So good afternoon, everybody. And of course, it's a great pleasure to be here. Thanks to the municipality for hosting such an amazing meeting, and to the municipality of Milan for indicating to us such an event, and to Dr. Maccarini to host us for this speech. Has been anticipated, what does banking have to do with such kind of an issue? I will be brief. It's the last speech. But I want to point to a specific concept, and then I will go through some slides. Cities are crucial, of course, but we are talking about something which is, as has been just pointed out, something which is bigger than just trying to solve the immediate problem. We are looking at somehow redesign the food system. The reason is because, of course, the system is faulty at its beginning. And so circular economy is basically, from our perspective, the new way of creating value. And for a financial institution, I can assure you, this is a pretty serious business. What circular economy is, I will share with you, but Intesa Sanpaolo is the very first financial institution at global level, being the financial service global partner of the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, which is the major think tank globally busy with disseminating the culture about circular economy. So that's why I wanted to anticipate this, because we do see this a very close connection with what the food waste is, which is basically the outcome of a faulty linear food system. I will try to be effective. So linear economy, basically, if, just to give a very quick kind of introduction, look at plastic bottles. If I was holding now a plastic bottle of water, mineral water, and I wanted to be sort of responsible guy, I would drink it up and then I would place in the recyclable kind of plastic bin. That would be a nice thing to do. That would be sustainable. But that would not solve the problem of plastic. Because that plastic